Sorry about that. Okay. We're going to read through all four of the things being added right now to Limbus Company. We've got four things added, two egos, Don Quixote and Sinclair's lifetime stew, and then we've got Sous Chef Gregor and what's this one? RB Chef de Cuisine Ryoshu. So let's start off with the. We'll do the egos last, as I usually do. We'll start off with the 2-star ID of Mr. Gregorius. Gregorius Maximorius. So he's a 2-star, obviously, very easy to obtain, and it is Gregor. Skill 1, 2 coin. On hit, inflict paralyze. If the target has bleed, inflict paralyze next turn. And then on the other half of it, second coin, on hit, inflict bleed. Already very powerful, to be quite frank with you. And ironically, very powerful. Paralyze on the actual turn itself, and if the target is bleeding, paralyze on the next turn. Paralyze is just in general strong. If you kind of run a full paralyzed team, you'll have a pretty good time. I'm not sure if this will make it into a paralyzed team because I'm not sure if it's a good. Like it depends on what level of paralyze and how many paralyzed stacks. But okay, good. Skill 2, 1 coin. On hit, inflict bleed count. Inflict bleed. Bind next turn. Okay, good. Bleed count. It is a 1 coin, so it's going to be pretty unreliable. Let's be real. Gonna be very unreliable, but it's fine depending on its actual coin value and depending on the actual initial value, but whatever. And then 4 coin, skill 3, which is already very strong. 4 coins is very powerful. And then everything's on hit, by the way. That's the pretty big part about a lot of these newer characters. A lot of the standard characters that were there on Season 1 launch, a lot of them have like on head, which is very, very obnoxious sometimes. Whilst this is just on hit, and a lot of the newer characters are just on hit, which is much more powerful. But on hit, bleed for the first coin, paralyze second coin, paralyze third coin, and then fourth coin, heal HP based on the target's bleed. So I'm not sure if he'll be incredibly powerful based on just his skills, because paralyze is useful. Again, it depends on the actual number. Bleed count is good, but it depends on the reliability of the actual value of the coin and the value of the ability. And the last part is healing. I guess if you want him to tank, there's no real way to make a character tanky or have them taunt abilities, but if you just want him to be tanky and have him survive indefinitely, probably. And also, Gregor has like a healing one as well. He has a healing ego himself baseline. I think it's Legiment or whatever the fuck it is called. So I guess that's pretty good. You can kind of have like an immortal Gregor, which is pretty good. You know, that's pretty good. But the passive, heal HP at the start of the combat phase. He just has more healing, so practically he's immortal. And then support passive at the start of the combat phase. The ally with the lowest HP heals HP. Boost the healing of RB Chef de Cuisine Ryoshu's passive Rustle Up, which I guess we'll find out once we get to the character, but I guess you want to run them together because they'll most likely work together. But for probably, let's just say baseline, this character is one that you'd want if you, I don't know, really. It's kind of tough because he's just, I don't think he has innately high value, but it depends on the actual value of the coins and everything. But he will not die, so if you need a unit that just doesn't die, then you take this guy, I guess. There's no real, like, game mode, I think, right now where you need to just not die. But hey, that's fine, right? Just take, he's tanky, very tanky. But going on to Ryoshu now, where we have the actual passive, which we'll get into once we get to the passive section. Skill 1 for, obviously, I like this little art thing that they did with the smiley face on the knife. Very creepy, as per usual, with Limbus Company products. Skill 1, Ryoshu de Cuisine. 2 coin. On hit, inflict bleed count. And on hit, gain appetite. Which appetite is increase the healing provided by the passive Rustle Up. Which passive Rustle Up is, I guess I'll read it now. After defeating an enemy, heal the ally with the lowest HP. If the unit, this unit has an appetite, spend it to boost the healing based on its count. It's just healing, so if Ryoshu kills a unit, she'll heal anyone with the lowest HP. So I guess that's pretty good for something like, what's that game mode called? Mirror Dungeons. If you're going like through and through them, you don't want to, lose HP and you're versing minions instead of bosses. So it's pretty good there. Bossing, probably not that great. But regardless, let's go back to the skills. Skill 1, pretty okay. I'm not, again, it's going to be, I think these two characters are just going to be minion-based characters, but skill 2, 3 coin, very good. It goes up by 1 instead of going down. On hit, inflict bind next turn, and then heads hit, inflict bleed, very, okay. And then the third coin, on hit, if the target has bleed or paralyze, inflict HP healing down next turn. Now, I'm not sure that's overly useful, because there's only a few enemies in the game that actually heal, albeit they are very annoying to deal with. And you have to hit the actual third coin, which is not too difficult, with a 3 coin ability. So that's pretty fine. That's pretty fine. Enemies will just heal. It all depends on the percentage. If it's like 5%, not that useful. If it's like 30%, that's fucking pretty good. Because some enemies do heal for, let's say, hundreds, and being able to reduce those hundreds by 30% is going to be pretty powerful. Overall, the fact that you just increasing coin count through the skills is also very useful. So going from 2 to 3 to 4, as we can see in skill 4, very, very good. Skill 3, sorry, then, 4 coin, skill 3. I can cook anything. Boost damage based on the target's missing HP. They're all on heads hit. The final coin deals more damage, which she's just going to be like a burst damage character. This is essentially like Kleinhammer Heathcliff's skill 3. You kind of have like just the more coins you land, or the more heads you land, the stronger your damage is. So this is pretty good. This is, you know, if you land all 4 heads, then if you land all 3 heads and then the 4th heads, you'll be doing like, I don't know, maybe upwards of like 200 damage depending on the scaling. I'm not exactly sure. If you counter and you get like right affinities and whatnot, you might be able to do that. But it sounds pretty cool. But it all is dependent on hitting heads. The damage is going to be, I presume, pretty lackluster if there's no heads involved. You know, pretty actually maybe dog water, but regardless, it's pretty good. Now, her defense is worth mentioning. On evade, gain haste next turn. So actually using her defense skill maybe come in handy to maybe guarantee a certain speed, so you can maybe get in early and outspeed some enemies to use your skill 3 on certain enemies at certain times. If you, like burst someone down, that might be quite useful, who knows. But it is worth mentioning as it gives you haste. Again, rustle up is the act of defeating an enemy and healing an ally with the lowest HP. And then if you have appetite inflicted by skill 1 onto herself, if she lands the hit, you'll spend the count of appetite to heal for more. Obviously, there's only one way to gain appetite, and it's going to be through her skill 1. So just bear that in mind. It's fine, really. I guess you won't be needing to heal too often. It's going to be kind of like an emergency heal. You need to kill something really quickly. You just chuck on, you build up appetite stacks across the whole fight, and then hope that she kills an enemy. Maybe with skill 3, one-shot an enemy really quickly, and you heal someone who's very low. It depends on how high value the healing is. Can you full heal someone, or is it going to be some sort of like very low passive heal? It depends on how high value it is, but yeah, I guess if you can spend the appetite count and whatnot, it's pretty good. Support passive though, when an enemy is defeated, the ally with the lowest HP heals HP. Much better support passive because it happens to everyone. And everyone can cause it, so you're probably going to more so often than not use this character for her support passive. I don't think you'll be overly using her for her actual passive, because it seems that she needs to do it, whilst in this one, it needs to happen by anyone, so it's a little bit more useful and a little bit more, you can use her as like passive healing, essentially. And then, yes, just as we explained earlier, appetite increases the healing provided by the passive rustle up, spent with the passive activates, or when the passive activates. And then HP healing down decreases HP healing provided by passive skills, passive abilities, skills, and coin effects. So you can just reduce the healing that the allies or enemies do, rather. Overall, better than Gregor by a fair bit, I'd say. Mainly because skill 3 seems to be able to do a lot of damage, and the healing mechanic is very good. But I think for this lady, you're going to end up using her a bit more as a support passive instead of an actual character, unless she's like your only damage dealer, is if you don't have anyone else. She also has Wrath, Lust, and Envy, which is, I'm not sure how synergetic that is. That's pretty good. You could run that with something. Like the not really Kurakuma, because you want to be running Ryoshu for that one, I believe. But she does have 2 slash skills here, so maybe this version of Ryoshu might be better than Kurakuma. I'm not too sure. This one seems to have a bit more emphasis on actual damage, unlike Ryoshu, where it's kind of being cringe and shit like that. But pretty good character. I don't know if we're getting these for free. I probably should read the patch notes for that one. I might read them after this, but that's pretty cool. But let's get on to the egos now. The egos are two of them. They're both Teth, so it doesn't really matter. We'll start off with Sinclair's just because he's at the top here, and go to the English one. So ego Teth Sinclair lifetime stew. The ego awakening skill is indiscriminate. Both of them. Both the corrosion and the regular one are both indiscriminate AoE targeting ones. So target the unit with the least HP. If the target is an ally, this deals 0 damage. God knows why we need that, fucking suffix or whatever the fuck you want, prefix. But fair enough. If it hits an ally, it does 0 damage. On heads hit though, if the target is an ally, heal them proportionally to the user's max HP. Tails hit, inflict burn. If the target is an ally, give haste and ego resource amp next turn. Sure, I guess. Whatever floats your boat, really. If you're adding some sort of diversity through some sort of methods, probably won't be an overly used one, because fair enough. But what does ego resource amp do? It increases the amount of ego resources earned from skills by the effects count for 1 turn. So if you use, if some ally has ego resource amp, then they use 1, wrath skill, they'll get 2 wrath affinities. It's kind of straightforward. Is it useful? Yeah, it's not bad actually. It's not bad. The haste part is also kind of fine, but it is all dependent on, again, heads. You can't really use this as a reliable source of anything, because if it's heads, then you'll just heal. If it's tails, it hits burn. It hits the enemies, it's burn, and then if it hits you, it's just fucking a bit just arbitrary, isn't it? It's a bit weird. Just a bit weird. But anyway, corrosion skill, indiscriminate AoE targets the unit with the least HP. Before attack, spend random ego resources to boost the damage, and then on hit, inflict burn count. It takes away the whole kind of failsafe against hitting your own units. Regardless of if it hits, it will just hit the target with the lowest fucking HP, really. That's really what it's saying right now. Again, I don't think it's going to be, obviously, it's AoE, so you don't want to use this against bosses, because the boss is never going to have the lowest HP, because I think it takes into consideration the number, and so they have to have the number be lower than your actual characters, so be careful with that, I believe. That's just a guess on how it works. I was going to say how it works. So don't take this into the single target fights, really, or any kind of high HP enemy fight. If it works off of max HP, then that might be a different story, because they just have to be below a certain percentage, and you have to be above a certain percentage for it to work. But it all depends on the semantics, on the nuances of the ego skill. But that's fine. It looks to be okay. It's just that this part is going to be finicky to work around with. You have to be really kind of careful when you use it. Can't really be just chucking it out like most egos you can. Oops, wrong one. And then the next one, Lifetime Stew Don Quixote. Again, Lust, and then 1 coin Lifetime Stew. Before attack, boost damage based on the current Lust resources. I'm assuming that these two are only going to be, using Lust as their thing. Or at least this one's only going to use Lust as its kind of, consumer. Because based on your Lust resource, it kind of makes sense. But you on hit inflict burn count, which is rather useful. Inflicting burn count just, almost guaranteed if you have the resources available to you. So this one for a burn team might be really good. Now, as there isn't really a Don Quixote that's built for burn, this might not be the most optimal play to have in an actual burn team. But as there are only 3 burn characters right now, having Don Quixote in there with this ego might not be too bad. And, the standard thing is fine. You just boost it's a single target, obviously, it doesn't say AoE, so it's single target and inflict burn count. So you might want to take this into, some fights that you want to use burn in. I'm not going to try to be fucking too specific about it. It's not really that incredibly powerful, but it's pretty good. And then the corrosion effect, or corrosion skill, indiscriminate, targets the unit with the most HP. Before attack, boost damage based on the current Lust resource, then spend Lust resources by Lust Resonance. Further boost damage by resource spent. On hit, inflict burn count. It's fine, really. It's, again, attacks the unit with the most HP. It's indiscriminate, but it has a parameter with the most HP. Again, depending on if it's based on max HP or a HP count, depends on if you want to take it. If it's something like a boss, with like 2000 HP, 1000 HP, you may want to take it if it's based on just the number. If it's based on max HP, you can kind of take it into anything and kind of use it very sparingly and very kind of situationally. And as for its damage bonus and whatnot, it uses up all of your lust, from my understanding. Boost your damage based on the current lust resources, then spend lust resources by lust resonance. So it, like, I'm assuming it might spend how much you resonated, and then also the base amount, right? But yeah. And at the start of the turn, convert random non-lust ego resources into lust resources. You can kind of get a bit more lust ego resources. This is not overly good in my opinion, because it's just like, you don't really want to only have lust. There's like, unless you just want to use this ego, I wouldn't call this overly amazing. But I guess if you only want to use this one, or if you only want to use ones that are very heavy in lust, or only use lust, converts random non-lust egos into lust. So listen, it's indiscriminate, like, conversion of your ego resources. It's very hard to recommend. But to be quite frank, the ego awakening skill baseline is pretty good if you can manage it, and if you can kind of be okay with the indiscriminate conversion of your egos and kind of work around it. I think the ego is pretty good. I would put this one above Sinclair's one, at least. Don Quixote's is probably better than Sinclair's, just because Sinclair's is just, like, the fucking healing, the ego resource of gain or whatever. It's just all this other stuff. Event reward. I did see that at the top here. It does say event reward. So if we go through all the characters right now really quickly, it does say that if they are event reward. Now for the characters, it doesn't say shit. Doesn't say shit for the characters. So no knowing of if this character's there. But if we go down to Mr. Gregorius Mixamorius, event reward identity. So you're gonna get Gregor for free, but for Ryoshu, you're gonna have to roll for her, as it doesn't say that she is free here, because on all these other ones in the red little box, it does say, oh, Sinclair's isn't one either. So the two free ones that we do get, I just noticed that, yeah. So Don Quixote and Gregor are free, whilst you have to roll for Sinclair and Ryoshu, which is a bit unfortunate. Bit unfortunate in my opinion. I feel like if the game hasn't given out that many things. They could have done this for their first major event, but it is what it is. I'm not going to really harp on about that because it's not an overly important mechanic or thing. But they're all fine. I wouldn't even, to be quite frank, I wouldn't recommend trying to get the egos. They're not like must-have egos. Nothing here is must-have. I do know that they have very cool animations. I think Sinclair's is the one where he spins around and like chucks like some sort of globule at the enemies or whatever. And I think Ryoshu does have cool animations, but that's pretty much all you're getting. But I guess it is Ryoshu, so she's an attractive woman, so I guess that's one reason to get it, right? That's one reason to do it. But yeah, that's that. That's that. I'm not going to harp on about them anymore because they're just that simple.